Hello and welcome to Bendy, a podcast about being flexible in all of the ways that means. Thanks for joining us. My name is Andy Young and I'm one of your reconciled, reassembled hosts. Joining me as always is our other reconciled and reassembled host, Beth Martin. Beth, the pleasure as always. What's the crack?
Hi.
Hi. It's kind of odd, right? So you just need to know this is pretty important. We are in the same room currently.
We're sitting next to each other.
The call's coming from inside the house. Quite literally. In fact, in this case, in the same room.
In the same room.
Even more terrifying.
So we're like trying to figure out like how to set this up where we can actually sit next to each other and have an actual conversation.
We also are worried about recording, so it's been interesting. And also, you know, we've got to look good for not the gram,
for your board games.
For board games. Well, that's important, obviously.
Yeah.
And also, you know, for the tube.
Yeah. For the kids.
Yeah.
So I'm in Ireland right now. I'm in Andy's house.
She is. And you know, when you see the video,
I think he's gonna let me out at some point.
Let's see.
Yeah. But so we this is so different.
It is.
We're here together. Yeah. Mm-hmm. In your office with your board games. So the crack is I didn't really understand how many board games you had.
Yeah, that's pretty important.
So the shelf, like if anyone's watching on YouTube, the shelf just keeps going and going and going. It's kind of like in Time Bandits where they push the wall. Do you remember at the beginning? Yes. Mm-hmm. And they keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and the hallway gets longer and longer. That's kind of what it's like.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And then it spills out into other rooms as well.
Yeah, it did very much spill out into other rooms.
So like the living room.
The room that you're staying in.
The room I'm staying in.
Yeah.
Which I now call my room.
Yeah. There's going to be a fight for that room. I know a number of people who call that their room. So yeah. So like, I mean like, you know, it is getting to the stage where I am thinking I need to sell some of these. I mean, I already have the ones in your room or for sale, but I don't play them, so they're just taking up shelf space that other board games could be put on, you know.
Oh, make room for more?
Yeah, exactly. Because I do want to buy more, and I want to buy ones that I'll play, but, you know, there's no point in having the ones that I don't play.
No, I totally agree.
So, yeah, but that's an ongoing project.
So, yeah, so the crack is I'm here farting in your office.
True.
Next to you.
How dare you?
You're welcome.
I mean, there's a lot of farting goes in this house. It's a farting house.
Yeah, it is actually.
I mean, the dog farts. My roommate farts. It's all the above.
You're a farter too. But, you know, too, I'm the silent but deadly farter. Yeah. What's the crack with you?
You know, you're here. I think that's, you know, and I was trying to think of something that's happened since our last episode that I should report on. And I don't think there's much else. I've been teaching yoga a little bit more, I guess. Yeah. That's relevant.
I went to one of his classes today, actually.
And
people did not throw stones.
They did not throw stones? They responded, at least 50% responded.
They threw money.
Yeah, they did. Only they threw money. People responded positively, at least 50%, which is good. You know, I'll take those numbers. Anything lower than 50%, you're sad, but, you know, 50% or higher, you'll take it all day long.
Right.
So that's been good. That was good. So yeah, but I think that's apart from that, and you know what I was thinking whenever I was thinking about this section earlier, it occurring to me that probably the crack is what the meat of the episode is going to be today anyway in terms of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
You know,
which is us.
Yes, exactly.
Again.
Yes, exactly.
Like just every other week.
Same subject as every week. Do you have I guess we could probably move into our topic because I think we've got a lot to talk about.
Well, no, I have.
You've got some more
I have two things.
Okay.
People were really, really excited about the comic book episode and the fact that we were doing that. Like, there was a lot of like, hell yeah,
awesome,
fuck yeah. So, just know that people are excited about
comic books.
Hearing us talk about comic. I know.
I mean, I'm excited about comic
books. And like,
constantly.
Andy's been showing me different ones that he has, like graphic novels.
Yep.
And like just like throwing them in front of me, and that's been
true.
Really like dropping these.
Here you go, Beth. Look at this.
It's like they're heavy.
They're like tomes. Yeah, they're like
they
leather.
are.
Yeah.
They're like bound and beautiful.
Yeah, they are. Those are the ones I kind of, and I mean, I have recently. I think I told you this. I have 10 boxes of comics that I've been kind of cataloging with an aim to sell. Because I don't really read single issues anymore, and I much prefer that format, you know, the bigger sort of, and also they look nice on the shelf, which is, you know.
They do.
I mean, like people, it is important. I like, and it's more for me because very few people are going to go in and go, "Ooh, what a fine collection of comics you have." You're clearly an intellectual of note. So that's really for my interests and other nerds that I know, But yeah, that's fine too.
And then I'm just going to read a little quote about one of your friends sent you some feedback.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I'm just doing the part that I like the most.
Yeah,
because
it's the best. It's great.
Yep. So they said that the earnest humanity of Bendy is making me be a better consumer of online content.
Yep. So there you go, folks.
Gold standard. You're welcome.
We're going to be using that merchandise. You know who you are, I think. I hope you'll know who you are when you hear that.
Yeah.
So yeah, you will be getting no commission.
None
whatsoever. If we do use that merchandise, we'll of course give you commission, probably. Let's sell it with a lawyer.
Rewind.
Yeah. Let's
We're gonna cut this out.
Cut this out. But yes, that was. But that because like I told you about that while you were here, and yeah, that was we really enjoyed that feedback. It was truly lovely, and it really kind of lines up with kind of what we're trying to do.
I mean, I never thought that. I guess, yeah. It's one of the nicest things I've heard.
Yeah.
And we've heard a lot of nice things. We have.
It's true.
That's great.
Yeah.
Because online content, man, it's a minefield.
It is.
So.
And it was a lovely, I don't know, just lovely insight as well.
Yeah.
And a lovely sort of angle on what we've been doing, And probably a way I don't think I would have ever worded it like that, but it's the sort of thing once you hear it, you're like, that feels really fitting and really kind of perfect.
Yeah.
So yeah. But yeah.
So thank you, listeners.
Yeah, thank you indeed. And so I think I'd probably move on to our main topic because I think like that it covers what's the crack because it really is because obviously today's episode, the name of today's episode is Reunited and it feels so good. Reunited and it feels so good. We did not practice that. And it was pretty perfect. Right?
In the car we did a little.
You have to agree.
That's a lie.
We did. But we didn't practice it then. It just happened.
Yeah.
Okay. So...
I'm sorry, I'm still laughing about...
Which one?
What did you say? The call's coming from inside the house?
Yeah, the call's coming from inside the house.
Oh my god. It's so fucking funny.
That's so good. I mean, me saying it's so good to my own joke there as well, right? Immediate feedback on my own humour. You
can high-five yourself.
Right. We didn't high-five each other there, we high-fived ourselves. Okay, so... so we're moving on to our topic today. So Beth is over visiting me in Northern Ireland, and also we went down to Ireland. So she's been learning, about the difference between those things, and we visited. I mean, Beth's only here 6 days, so we've just been able to do bits and pieces, but we've done pretty well.
We've been, yeah.
We've
to be fair, you have a life that you're also running.
So-called life. Yeah.
So it's just, we've been busy and we've seen a lot, and it's been an amazing experience.
It has.
I was also in London 4 days prior to coming to see you.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to, it's very, very broad brushstrokes of the UK experience.
Absolutely. But I think, good sample platter, and you've come at a really good time in terms of weather and things like that. So, before we get into do you want to talk a little bit about London before we move on to here, and then we can talk more about our trip and stuff like that? Sure.
So, I was there. I wanted to run my jet lag.
Yeah. Run down the clock on that. Yeah.
There before showing up here. And being exhausted and crabby. So, I got a flat in I don't remember the part, but it's by the British Museum.
Yeah. I don't know where
I don't either.
Yeah.
But so I've never been to London. I've never been to Ireland. London was it's really walkable.
It is.
I didn't know, and I actually didn't ride the
Do you not ride the tube?
Not a single time. I walked and I was 47 minutes to the Tower of London. I can totally do that. And then by the time I got there, I was like, oh my God.
47 minutes is quite a bit, yeah.
Yeah. But, and it was okay, so, it was busy. It's a really old city. Everything is, I guess, I'm going to shorten all of this, but it was crowded. There's so much to do, you can never do it all kind of thing. So I tried to see as much as I could. We have a mutual friend who I was able to meet there, and we ran around all day and saw a bunch of stuff, and it was nice just to get a Londoner's experience. And he lives like an hour north, and so just kind of like him getting into the city after not being there for a while.
It's like a treat. He
was just like, oh,
because I think that's what we said as well, and like that was my experience when I visited you a few years ago. It's really nice having somebody who knows the area, because I think you get it's the sort of experience I'd be looking for.
Totally.
I think I'd speak for both of us.
Yep. And it was interesting. I think it's like I noticed little things. So I noticed that there's like a height restriction on buildings, because there's certain buildings.
I don't think I would have noticed
that. So there are areas where you're like probably what would be called the financial district, where you're able to like build buildings tall, and like our friend was like, "That's the tallest building in London," and I was like, "That's not very big,"
Yeah.
So it's really easy to it's easy to if you get vantage point, like it's easy to see things. It's just cool. We went to there's a lot of parks too.
Yeah, there are.
And it was interesting just like comparing like, I've like different animals, similar plants.
Yeah.
It's very similar to Oregon in terms of like animals and plants.
Yeah. We found that here a little bit as well. Right?
Yeah. But it was I overall it was magical and fabulous. So I'm really glad I went. And there's more I would actually like next time like to get out of the city and see more of the countryside.
Yeah.
But
all that being said, it still totally sucks ass compared to Ireland so far.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Okay. So that's thank you.
Yep. So big thumbs down.
I'm slipping Beth a £5 note. for that.
Right. So so then I flew here like 6 or 7 days ago.
Thursday evening. Yeah, it's Wednesday today,
and it's super weird because the sun sets at like 10 o'clock
here. It's 3. So because we're quite high, quite up north. That's a bad sentence, but anyway. So because we're quite, I'm not gonna attempt that again. No. So like we get long. So once the summer comes around, we get long days. Like at the height of the summer, we will have sunlight to like 10:30 or 11. It's not. But we also get the opposite in winter.
What does that mean? Like what time would the sun set?
Like 3:34.
Okay.
It's a nightmare, and like it'll sometimes not rise until like 9:30, 10. So you go to work, it's dark. You come back from work, it's dark. It's awful. So but like it means that. And I mean, I have been in quite a few places in the world. I think that summer days here are a nice summer day when the weather's warm and you have like 14, 15 hours of sunlight. It's pretty special. Yeah. It really is.
So I've been staying up super late and being like, what do you mean?
Yeah. What time is it? Yeah, I know.
So there's a lot of that.
It does take some figuring out. I mean, even for us, because it changes, like, and also because, Beth has had really nice weather since she's been here, but like...
I bring the sunshine. It's just like who I am as a human being.
Yeah. That's what we've been saying. As well.
It's all me.
Yeah. I'll tell Beth. But like, I mean, just to give you context for this weather system here, and I told you this, I don't think I've said it on the pod, we had hailstones like 2 weeks ago. So it's you never know.
You were like, it was raining and then it was sunny and then it was hailing. Yeah. And there might have been a little snow in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it gets, so it's so funny because you guys have been complaining about sunburns, and if we're outside and like walking and it's sunny, then everyone's worried about getting a sunburn. And it's just and there's like always like sort of a cloud cover, I guess.
Yeah.
And I didn't anticipate that, and it really is a thing. Like you don't see the sun very often, but the clouds are so thin that you get that like natural light.
You still get the heat. Yeah. You do still get the heat. Yeah, very, very much.
But so. I was like, do you guys wear sunscreen? And you were like,
It's more like you go out, and it happened yesterday because we went out and it was like a bit cloudy, and we were like, it's fine, whatever. And then by the end of the day, it was really beautiful, and we were like, this is what we're talking about. It's hard to predict. Yeah. You really can't. Yeah. And also, we're all really hard and strong guys, so we don't need sunscreen. Because, like, just being tough protects you from the sun,
Right. And skin cancer.
Yeah, and skin cancer.
Melanoma.
Yeah. Just by flexing, you can bounce the skin cancer away.
So do you want to talk about being a tour guide?
Sure. Well, so, like, what I was thinking, how I've broken it down, because I was thinking about, like, we could talk about little, like, each sort of section of the trip in a way. So we talk a little bit. So when Beth got here at first, we almost immediately went down to Bray, which is just south of Dublin.
Mm-hmm. So it's Ireland.
Ireland, yeah.
Not Northern Ireland.
And, like, even initially, I was like, Beth, I want you to guess when we've crossed the border.
He was like, just wait, look ahead.
Yeah.
See if you notice.
And then just, like,
and
you just don't.
No.
There's no signs that, like, considering, especially these days, considering it's like a European country compared to a non-European country, it is just, you're driving, and then all of a sudden, speed limits are in kilometers instead of miles, and
things are in Gaelic.
Yes.
It's like they have to have Gaelic and the English word, which is fascinating.
It is.
Because they don't line up.
No.
And it's also... I literally had to come here in order to understand when you're talking about the southern part of Northern Ireland and Ireland, and like, it all makes sense now that I've actually driven it.
I mean, like, I don't want to,
and it's like, here we spend pounds, in Northern Ireland, now that I'm so Irish, because... Yeah,
you're saying quid and everything. Right? I'm loving it.
I did.
Yeah.
I'm saying proper.
Delighted in saying quid, yeah. But so anyway, we went down to Bray. It's beautiful. It's one of my dear friends lives down there, and there is a jazz festival. So whenever Beth was planning this trip, I said, look, on these weekends, these are the things that I'm doing. You're very welcome to come to them. Mm-hmm. And the Bray Jazz Festival worked out nicely. We didn't go to a ton of jazz. Mm-mm. We saw a little bit. We went to one show, which we'll talk about. And we did a little bit of, we saw a little bit of jazz and some bars and things like that. But we stayed in Bray. We stayed just outside of Bray.
Pubs.
We did, pubs, and lots of them. Harbour Bar
in Bray. Shout out. I'm sorry I took your coaster.
Yeah, I'd have her arrested immediately.
I'm borrowing it. I'll give it back when I come next time.
She's talking about just like one of the, the coasters, they have like 200 of them. They're made out of cardboard. They're designed to be destroyed and thrown away. So,
someone's used it as like an anal or a urinal cake.
yes.
Throw that in there. Put it on the table.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
So we just kind of around there. We saw some gigs in as I say, bars and things like that. And we did a wee bit of tourist stuff. So we saw. Can
we talk about where we were? Like, we got an Airbnb.
Yeah.
And it was like this gorgeous house.
It was.
And then we were in the guest house, and they had a tennis court.
They did.
And it was just. They had one of those tennis ball launchers and like a pull down screen, and there were like taps. They were brewing beer. It was insanely cool. It was insanely cool.
They had a fishbowl table. Yeah.
So that was like a few minutes out of.
We didn't spend a lot of time there, but we. But I mean, we were there to go around and do other things, so it was fine.
Yeah.
But we saw, like, we spent a bit of time exploring, because so Bray's kind of on the coast, and we were a little bit more in the country, and we explored some areas around there.
And you spell Bray, Bray.
Yes, that's true.
You say the words, and then I, like, in my head, I've been trying to, like, spell them out myself, and then I'll see the sign, and I'm like,
oh.
Nope, totally wrong again.
Oh, okay, yeah. We did a little bit of the countryside. So there was some nice lochs and things. Lochs or lakes.
Lochs or lakes.
Yeah.
But you spell it Loch, right?
No, Loughh.
Oh, right.
Yeah, no, even more confusing. Loch. Loch is how the Scottish people spell it.
Sorry.
That's right. Get
okay.
out.
Bye.
And there's a nice forest walk up there, and I think and I suppose, like, for any Americans who are listening, and I think from your point of view, you talked about, like, how some of the places there, just forest walks, would be crowded.
There were no people except for the bikers.
Yeah, there was bikers. Yeah.
But so coming from either Oregon or Southern California, like, there's just there's we have so many more people, and everybody on a nice Saturday was like, oh, let's go up to the falls, or let's go for the hike at the place. And it's like, you can't find, oftentimes, like, you can't find parking. You'll just, like, get up, get all geared, get in the car, drive there, turn around, go home.
Yeah, there's, and I think we find, and I mean, certainly I've shown you, especially locally, where I know a lot better, there is just so much of it. I mean, like, down south, and because that'd be a more touristy area, we did see a handful of people, but some of the walks we've done locally, there's been nobody there, and they're beautiful spots. Like,
insanely beautiful. Yeah. And we went up to we can get into that, but we went up to a viewpoint today, the viewpoint, where you can see all of this area.
Belfast, Bangor, Carrickfergus. There's a whole kind of loch in the lead up to Belfast, which is the capital of Northern Ireland, and
there was nobody there.
It's really beautiful.
We drove up and I'm like, where is everybody?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Why is this not busy? Because, like, the gorgeous day today as well. It's insane. But when we were down there, we had the distinct honour of seeing the world's third best garden.
The world's third most beautiful garden.
Mm-hmm.
To claim to fame.
Quite a claim to fame. And it was nice. I mean, maybe I just don't like gardens that much.
They had, like, a tower, and they had a distillery that we didn't go into. And, like, I recognized so many of the plants just because so many of them are in Oregon. And I was like, oh, it's this tree. Oh, and, like, we have Japanese gardens there. But it's... Well, what's interesting is the movie. I didn't know. Basically, half of the movies ever made have been filmed in Ireland.
Yeah.
So we went to the Paracourt house, which was where the garden was, but also, like, this waterfall.
Yes.
So if anyone has ever seen, like, the 80s movie Excalibur, pretty much, like, the sword in the lake was, like, at that, and like the waterfall was, I'm sure, you know, it's
really stunning, like, that waterfall. I must say, it's really striking, I guess it would be the word I was searching for with it. And definitely worth a look, and I'm sure I've seen it in something or other. It looked vaguely familiar.
It was an Excalibur.
That waterfall was okay. And also one of the, like, ponds in Parscourt Gardens themselves. Yeah.
And they had a list, but I can't remember all of them. So it's Powers Court. It's
Powers Court.
Power Court. Powers Court.
Powers Court.
Powers Court.
Powers Court. I'm interested to see what YouTube auto subtitling does for
it's that. Gonna be. This is gonna be probably my hardest episode ever.
So they. The one that I think Barry Lyndon was filmed there as well.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah, Barry Lyndon. So
Kubrick.
Yes, and, like, I think, because I remember only watching Barry Lyndon for the first time.
It was, like, a few months ago.
It wasn't that long ago. It was maybe a year now or so now, but it's been pretty recently, and it's really clear. Sometimes the movie will be like, we're set in Ireland, and you look at the background, you're like, that's not Ireland. And when you see Irish scenery, you're like, oh, that's Irish as fuck, you know. And, like, Barry Lyndon immediately, because I didn't know, because because he's supposed to be Irish. Is it Tate Donovan?
No, it's Peter.
I'm gonna forget his name.
Peter O'Neill, something O'Neill. Mind Garden. His daughter is Tatum O'Neill. They were in Paper Moon together. She won I think she was, like, the second youngest Best Actress award winner ever.
Oh, yes,
Best Supporting Actress.
I know. I'm not going to name.
Mind Garden.
Ryan O'Neill.
Ryan. What did I say, Peter?
Peter. I think we're all in the same sort of area.
Yeah.
And like, really, because I started watching that film and with not really knowing very much about it.
It's like 4 hours long.
It is.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's a commitment.
It is a commitment, but it is very good. And I was like, wait, and I, like, was about 15 minutes in, and I was like, this looks like it was filmed in Ireland. And then he was, like, talking, and I was like, hold on a minute. Is he supposed to be Irish? It's like, oh shit, because other characters were definitely speaking in proper Irish accents.
Yep.
But I thought it was.
Have you ever seen a picture of Stanley Kubrick?
I think so, but it's been a while since I have.
I've never seen a photo,
and it's like wild.
I saw one. I think it was like 2 days ago, and for some reason, like, his picture popped up, and I was like, really?
Yeah.
I guess, like, sort of Peter Jackson-ish.
Yes, yeah,
kind
of
just
comparison.
Like, you know.
But, like, he looks like a wild man in those photos I've seen of him. Yeah.
With the hair everywhere and, like.
And apparently he was, so it kind of adds up. Yeah.
Is he dead?
Yes, he is. Because he died because he was like halfway through making AI or something like that.
Oh, really?
Or wait, no. Sorry, he made Eyes Wide Shut. I think he either died making that. Yes, I think he died making that, and he started work on it after making that, and he started work on AI, and then Spielberg finished it.
Okay. Because they were friends.
Yes.
Fascinating.
So yeah. So that was Paris Court. Gardens. So we then went to. We went to the jazz festival that night, and there was like it was such a nice selection. It was our friend recommended a show to us that was fantastic.
So good.
And it was like an Irish jazz musician, a collection of Irish jazz musicians playing that was fantastic, and then this band from Senegal. They were called Baobab Orchestra, and they were sensational. I don't know that even in the billing it was described as a fusion of all sorts of things, and it's one of those bands that we very hard to pigeonhole. But there was like 10 people on stage. It was incredible. It was a seated theatre. People got up to dance. I know that probably in America you'd be like, yeah, that happens sometimes. It is vanishingly rare here.
It's one thing if it's like a stadium, and even then people get irritated, but it was like 150, 200 seat theater.
Yeah.
So like really intimate, really small. So for that to that doesn't happen in the States either. Oh, really? No.
It would be on
like a more
venue.
Intimate, yeah. Like anything where you're going to get up and dance, it'll be a bigger venue. Yeah. And like they took over that room.
Yeah, they did.
There were 2 guitar players, 2 vocalists, 2 saxophone players, 2 percussionists, and like they all had like we were talking about it. They were like working so hard and singing so hard and like working the crowd so hard. Like by I think 10 minutes in, we were all standing, and everyone is dancing and rocking out, and they're just like they have all these like
covered in
sweat, telling themselves off, and like. They actually came back out for
an encore.
Yeah,
they did. They did an extra song. I like it's and I always kind of respect that when I see musicians on stage, and I'm like, they are working their asses off for the crowd. They deserve some that. You dancing to them. But that was fantastic.
And I'm really like your friend did a great job recommending them. So
yes,
he
did. Thank you, buddy. We're not going to mention names, but we're not going to specifically because we don't want to put people on the blast.
We want people to think that Andy really has friends.
Yeah. With our huge following, we want people to get stalked and hurt.
Right. For recommending bands for us to go see.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And
don't stalk us, please.
How could you do this? How could you recommend a great band for these people? You asshole. So do we want to talk about Victor's Way a little bit?
Sure.
So how do I describe Victor's Way? So it's this park. Same friend, again, an amazing recommendation. He is great at these things. And he taken me there before, and it is a sculpture park, meditation sculpture park, I guess. Maybe
it's someone's like. I don't know how to describe it. I'm not trying to sound negative, but it's almost like someone took their own thoughts and ideas about the world and what's wrong with what's wrong with
it is what's wrong with
a lot of like different religions and ideals, and also like infused it with computers and
like modern technology a little bit,
and it's like something you would find at Burning Man, but
it's made
so
out of
much cooler.
Marble. These sculptures are made out of marble, so like
that he got in, like he went to India and they were like cutting all these giant slabs of marble and like sculpting all these things, so it's like all of the different Hindu, not all, but several of the different Hindu gods. There's like alliteration to Buddha and the process of like, finding enlightenment. There's also, what is it? Not forest napping.
Forest bathing.
Forest bathing, which means like he built. So you walk through a giant vagina.
You do.
And there's like Hindu elephants, and then you walk out and there's like an elephant reading a book that says what is it like?
Oh, it's basic. So it's basic coding.
Basic coding language. Yeah,
he's a modern guy.
Yeah. Modern Ganesh.
Yeah, modern Ganesh. Yeah.
And then it's just like this giant piece of property, and you can hear sheep in the distance and cows in the distance, and there's like, you take this journey through Victor's actually like living around there, I think.
We think, we're not sure. We were told we might see him, but we don't know whether that was just like a kind of, a story.
The ticket guy in his car was like, you might see Victor, and I was like assuming, he meant like the ghost, but no, I think he actually like hangs out.
Might be, still alive,
So then the forest bathing is like, he built all these like wooden structures that you can lay down in, which I think Andy has done, and I don't. Are they comfortable?
No.
Okay. And I get the concept is basically like, go outside, you idiots.
Yeah, like, and I mean, truly, so this was, Atlas Obscura is this website that kind of recommends those things like that. Which is a great resource for anybody who likes to see.
We own it. We have that Atlas Obscura.
Mike
was like, have you seen this? And I was like, no. And he's
nice.
like...
So I think it's a great way to find stuff, off the beaten track. And I mean, what I really love about this in particular is that this is somebody's pure vision from their heart. This is something that they believe in. And I think there are good things in there. I think there's some valuable stuff for people. There's also some stuff that you could probably not reject a little bit. There's some pretty intense viewpoints in certain things. But I think it's such a fascinating piece of art. The whole walk. I think like some of you I know.
I love interactive art.
Yes. And like I think some of you who I know who listen to this would really love it. And if you're ever in Dublin, should really check it out. And I think that like I don't want to say much more about it. I think we've probably said enough because like certain things that you had no idea, and it's probably better. Like you walk around certain corners, like the very last piece. Is like no the two last pieces are both kind of really wild, and better that you have no idea what you're in store for. So Victor's Way, for anybody,
please go.
Yes, please do go.
I would. That was like probably one of my favorites.
It was fantastic. It was such a good
from down there
down south, shaking my fist. So it was incredible. Jazz Festival was great. Just a great time down in Bray. We had lovely weather for it as well.
Oh, and we saw Sinead O'Connor had a house there, and it was right on the water. I mean, everything here is on the water, which is the best. And then we saw where James Joyce lived also.
It's true.
So I got to stand outside. I'm a big fan, so I got to stand. I was like, your friend was like, oh, and James Joyce lived there, and I was like, like hands on my face, couldn't believe it. So there's just everything around every corner.
Yep.
So highly recommend.
And if you go a little bit further, you can find potentially even more famous people like Edge from U2. Even more influential than James Joyce.
Right.
Arguably. And
I'm stabbing you with my with my eyeballs right now.
some for everyone basically is what I'm saying. But in all seriousness, if you are in, like, especially if you're in Dublin, and I don't think I would have ever, have my friend not moved to this part of the world, I don't know that I would ever went, but it's an incredible. You think? I don't know. Like, you don't. It's hard even sometimes to find like little gems in the north, and I live up here, so I don't know that I ever would have, but I adore it down there, and it's well worth the trip if you're ever in the south of Ireland.
You seem to have friends that are really good at exploring.
Yes, I think that's true.
And like getting out of their area.
And finding interesting, I think that's true.
Yeah,
very lucky that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was, and then we came back up. So that was our trip down south. So then, so the next thing I was going to talk about was we spent a day in Belfast on Monday. So we came back on Sunday. We spent a day in Belfast, and so it was just very quick.
Do you want to talk about? I'm going to sidetrack you.
Sidebar?
So Andy had a request that I bring him something from the United States.
Yeah. Okay, this is very important.
Andy, I'm coming. What would you like me to bring you?
And I said, Reese's caramel cups, please. And she did. She brought me 16 of them. I am delighted. I've had one already. I'm pleased to report they're everything I could have ever wanted and more. The dating episode we did before, I'm not even worried about it anymore. I'm just going to settle down with one of these Reese's.
We'll have a ceremony. Maybe I will put it online.
Peanut butter caramel cups, and we're going to live happily ever after.
You're in a polyamorous relationship with like 15 more peanut butter cups.
Hell yeah.
And then I'm pleased to also report that Mike had a Utilikilt that he doesn't wear anymore. And he was like, why don't you give it to Andy? And so that got trucked across the pond.
Yeah.
And it fits.
It fits like a glove.
So we were going to Belfast, and Andy's like, I think I'm going to wear my Utilikilt.
It was great. I loved it. And it was like, you know, it's one of these things that, you know, you wear a kilt and then, you know, it's so much air getting into those areas, you know, so much freedom. It's great for peeing in. I also, Utilikilt in particular, because it has so many pockets, right? And it's so practical. It's like that old joke, which is, what does every woman want? A dress with pockets.
It's true. It's true.
Right?
It's true.
Yeah. And so that's essentially what it is, and it's got so many pockets, and there's so many, you know, different sort of places you can put stuff in, and they're so deep, those pockets. Oh, that's great. So it's
you put your hands in. You were like in the kitchen. You're like, oh, these are deep pockets.
I was thrilled. So yeah, it's very exciting. So yeah, please tell Mike thank you very much.
Oh, I will. Oh yeah. No.
But it's been fantastic. So, you know, my Utilikilt dreams are fulfilled. So the podcast is ending because that was the whole point. I'm only joking. But I'm absolutely delighted. And I mean, as I said, I've had other friends who saw me in the kilt, and I was like, you need to get in this Utilikilt thing because it is the way to go. Or just kilts generally, I think they're the future.
I agree.
But they were our past, but they've been rejected.
And like you were rocking it with your Converse.
Yeah,
like,
hell yeah.
Yeah,
it was a good combo.
Yep.
Good combo.
Yep.
Okay, so as I say, I wore that into Belfast on our trip on Monday. So we went into. So I wanted to like show we just had a whistle stop tour around Belfast, but before we kind of travelled around, we went to the Festival of Fools, which is
you said fools.
Fools. The Festival of Fools.
Festival of Fools. I kept calling it the Fool Festival, and then I was like, it's probably not very nice.
Enough,
but neither, yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Okay.
So what it is a live sort of street performers. Thank you. So live sort of street performers. They do this every sort of every year
okay.
in May in Belfast. I know other like towns in Europe do them as well. Similar things. And you know, you go to various places, and there's people doing. So there's contortionists, there's jugglers, there are all sorts of different things. There's some comedy acts, things like that. Some musical acts. And it's always great. It's always great fun. It's always great energy. And because it had been on the weekend when we were away we were down south, but we still it finishes on the Monday, and we got to see the big finish show, which is kind of all the kind of acts come together and do like 5-10 minutes of their act. Do you want to talk a little bit about your favorite?
Yes. Okay. So something that's been happening with this trip is like I'll be like, oh, it'd be cool if this would happen, and all of a sudden it'll happen. And so there were two performers that came out, and they were just epic. Like their energy was already amazing, and then they like kind of like did an outfit change, and they were wearing cheerleader outfits, and then they started. They started juggling in their cheer outfits, and it was super cute and cool. And I leaned over to Andy's friend. I was like, yeah, it'd be cooler if there were chainsaws though. And then
did you really say that?
Yes. And then he like 30 seconds later they stopped juggling, one of them, and he's like, oh well, there you go. And I was like, what? And like, so these cheerleaders were juggling chainsaws.
Yeah, they
and
were.
It was like they were doing like the chainsaw dance.
Yeah, they were.
And I was like, but are they
them?
real chainsaws? And then they're like trying to get them started, and they're not like, oh, they won't turn over. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's the chainsaw experience. So they were juggling. So the two of them stood across from each other, and they had three going between them.
Yes,
and it was epic. It was epic. Not something I've never seen. I love like, I'll never see that again. I'll probably never see two men dressed in cheer outfits juggling chainsaws.
That's a good point. Yeah. So Yeah, come to Belfast, everyone.
Yeah, Festival Fools.
Yeah.
Highly recommend it.
So that was great fun, and we met a handful of my friends and stuff there, which was nice.
They're so lovely. They're so lovely and funny, and everyone has dogs, and all the like.
All the dogs were
we're all standing and talking, and all the dogs like are laying and chatting with each other and sniffing butts and all that.
And all the people were coming over
and
to
then
see
people
the
would
dogs.
just like it was almost like we were also the street art.
It's true. That's very true, actually. Yeah.
The dog pod.
Yeah, that's very true. Hey, that's a good way to put
it. I know.
So yeah, that was great. So yeah, Festival Falls was great fun. We then
you took me on a foot tour.
Yeah. So I just took Beth, through Belfast, and like she was saying how nice it was, and I was like, it was a curated walk. I was taking her through the nicer streets, the ones that are like smell like pee. Well, we did go past a few streets that smell like pee.
I was like, I smell urine. He's like, yeah,
there we go. It's the authentic experience. So, but we went and we saw some of the old buildings and things like that, and again, really refreshing because Belfast somewhere that I'm so used to, and kind of like not bored of certainly, but you don't. You see a lot of the older buildings and you're just like, whatever, it's the same old thing. But, you're reflecting on the kind of the age of the architecture and how kind of old everything looked. And, and it really does. Like, I think Belfast is, they talk about like some European cities. It's like, if you look up a lot of the times, you'll see a lot nicer sort of architecture and like older architecture. And it's very much the case with Belfast too.
I think that's a recommendation I have.
Yeah.
For both London and Northern Ireland, and Ireland is just like look up because there's so much to see and so much that people miss.
It's true.
And you were like, look up, and I was like, oh right, look at that.
It's I think like because I have there's been so many funny, amazing things. Like looking up, you just see stuff that hasn't been there that you haven't noticed before. Like there's that
might be a T-shirt.
It might be.
Just look up.
Let's just look up, yeah. And
I'm not going to write that down or remember it.
Isn't there a thing about like how hard it is to get humans to look up? Or there is. It's a known thing.
No, it's dogs.
It's a dog. It's probably, well, I mean, like there's not that
dogs
much.
Can't look up.
There's not that much difference between them. Because there's in my local town or in Belfast, there is a place. There's Progressive Insurance, right? And their headquarters is in Belfast, and it says Progressive House, and Progressive House is a form of music, right? Which always kind of made me laugh. That wasn't worth going.
That's a funny joke-ish.
Okay, it's funny joke-ish. I'll take it. Phew. As long as I get ish and not funny, then that's good.
Progressive House.
Yeah.
He did not mention this on the street tour.
We didn't go past it. Unfortunately, otherwise we would have. And we also then, so we had like a wee sort of Bendy meetup. A handful of folks arrived. It was lovely. Again, I don't think we'll mention names, but shall we?
No, it's fine.
Yeah, it's not.
No.
But we
had
really appreciate them coming.
Yes.
It was really, really lovely.
Yes.
That they came, and it was great to see them. So.
And nice. I had my first gluten-free IPA.
Yes, you did. That's true.
It was good. It
always kind of surprises me that we're doing things like that, and like the US doesn't have as much of it.
I also haven't really looked, but like our town is not. I mean, probably in like proper San Diego, not San Diego County. Yeah. They have that kind of stuff, but not out by us.
Yeah. So that was good. And then we did a little bit more walking. We saw Queen's University and like some student areas and things like that.
City Hall.
Yeah. City Hall. Yep. I'm trying to think where else. But just a wee sort of, overview. And I think just as well to kind of demonstrate, well, not demonstrate, but just kind of show Beth that, like, how walkable Belfast is.
Very.
Yeah, which is so nice, I think. I mean, one of the things I like, compared to, like, a lot of the kind of US cities I've spent time in, which I've loved by and large, but, difficult to navigate if you don't have a car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah. Oh, something else I've just remembered about, and something else that feels pretty key about our Belfast journey is how we got to Belfast.
Oh, yeah. So the train, we were going to take the trains, but the trains weren't running because it was a bank holiday.
Yeah, something like that.
Something. We don't know why. So instead, they had routed us through the bus service, the bus terminal. And I got to ride on my first double-decker bus. And it was very exciting. I was like, Andy, I've never been on a double-decker bus before. And so we got to the top. We had to sit at the top. And my first question, like we're rocking back and forth, and I was like, do these ever tip over? Yeah. And he's like,
sometimes. I mean, like, I think it's vanishingly rare, but like, it does happen, but I don't think, not that I'm aware of. I mean, probably more likely if somebody pushed them over to burn them in this country years ago than them actually toppling over by themselves. But yeah, it's but I mean, like, I and it's it's interesting because I'd hope to get you on the trains, because I think the train journey is quite nice too, but the fact that we got a double decker bus was almost as good.
It wouldn't have happened for me otherwise. So,
and I also think that from my perspective, because it's been a while since I've been on a double decker bus, it's great for spying into people's gardens on the way out to Belfast.
You
can see all these cool houses. It's like, oh,
like right on the water.
Yeah,
ones being built and ones that are just old and wonderful, and we're picking, maybe I'd live there. Maybe I'd...
We're trying to compare.
I was running real estate. I was like, if this was in the States, like this would be this amount of money, and
over here it's like, maybe $1 million or so, maybe.
And I'm like 20.
Yeah, 20 million.
I'm like, bring it up 20.
Yeah. Crazy. So that was great. So that was our Belfast trip. That was great fun. Great fun to see folks. I enjoyed the Festival of Fools. So a few other things. We're going to talk about my local area in a wee minute, but we then spent some time. We went up the Antrim coastline.
So you're in Antrim County?
Yes.
And it's Antrim.
That's correct.
Antrim.
Mm-hmm. And so we...
But in the town of Carrickfergus, but everyone calls it Carrick.
Yeah, that's true. To be nice and confusing.
Or Carrick.
Carrick.
So... Sorry, I'm so like, Carrick.
I know,
it sounds...
Like, I mean,
terrible.
But it's like how people, I feel, and I suppose there's versions of this in every place in the world that I know of, certainly English speaking places, that like once they know a place so well, it just kind of like slides out of their mouth. It's like, ugh.
No one says New York, it's like NY.
Yeah, exactly.
Or NOLA for New Orleans, yeah. So
exactly
similar.
But
still confusing.
Oh, very much so. Unless you live here, in most cases, like normal.
Right.
So the Antrim coastline. So essentially, we are, and certainly Belfast would be down at the south of Antrim County, and Antrim coastline is known to be at least one of the prettiest in the UK, possibly Europe. I don't know. It's got a reputation as being a stunning coastline.
Yeah, the second most beautiful coastline
in
the UK or in Ireland. Something there was like.
I'm gonna see if I can get an actual ruling in this.
Okay.
But it is really kind of beautiful. I mean, like it's been a long time since I've done it, and I think it is.
When was the last time you were?
I'd say it must be about 6 or 7 years since I've been to like different points on it here and there, but in terms of doing that full journey, it's at least 6 or 7 years.
So you start in Andy's town, but then the towns, I guess, they're not that far. They're maybe like 5 or 10 minutes apart, but you are, I think in this country, like 5 or 10 minutes is a lot.
It's pretty distinct, yeah.
And so the accents are different.
Yeah.
There are people that have like you're saying, like I haven't been up to the Antrim coastline in 6 or 7 years.
Yep.
It's like a 2-hour drive.
It is,
which
is nothing. Yeah, for
us,
American, yeah.
But for your culture, it's like that's a
That's trek. Yeah. Very much so. So we had, I mean, it was great, and we were very lucky. We had an absolutely beautiful day.
It was so fucking pretty.
It was. And I think that, like, and again, that's the perfect time to do it, Another thing that I would absolutely recommend if people are here is to do that trip. It's really worth it. There's also some great places to stop along the way.
You're just like, oh, there's a castle. Oh, there's another castle.
Yeah. Beth kept being blown away, and like again, one of the other things that we take for granted here is like these ruins, old ruins of like sometimes it'll be something grand like an abbey or maybe a castle, but other times it's just like an old sort of cottage that has been abandoned for years.
Yes, cottages. But we were on a walk in this area and in the next town over. Next town over. And I looked in someone's yard and I was like, is that a castle? And he's like, oh, yep. They just kind of like build houses around them.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, no.
But they leave them up, which I love.
They do, which is nice. I think probably, there's
your roommate was like, you can't, whatever, like, I don't want to hear the word quaint come out of your mouth, but it's so quaint.
It is pretty quaint, honestly. I'm not going to deny that.
So I don't know if anyone remembers us talking about folklore and the great legend of the giant Finn McCool.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we went up to the giant. It's called the Giant's Causeway.
Yeah, I wonder how. I mean, like, I know a fair few of you will know what this is, but like, I wonder how famous this is in the world. And like, I've seen it. It's funny because we were there and we went into the center, and there was like, it was referencing a Simpsons episode and stuff. So I guess
it's on a Led Zeppelin album.
Yeah, on a Led Zeppelin album. So
and it's like the one where like all the naked kids are like crawling up the rocks, and that's literally. So they had a whole wall, in the museum that shows you all the different ways that has been used in like pop culture.
Yeah.
And it's like you would know, but you've seen it. I guarantee it. So.
But yeah, it's like, if you don't know what it is, it's like these sort of basalt sort of columns that have formed in not just hexagonal shapes, but it's fairly sort of, squares or hexagonals or what is it? Pentagonals? Is 5?
Pentagon.
Yeah, pentagon shape. Yeah, so that I think pentagonals is the name of the actual shape, but like they are quite uniform in shape, and they're these basalt columns that have formed in and they're different heights and things like that, and it does look prety unique, doesn't it?
I've seen a lot of rocks in my time and been across the United States. Brag, humble brag. Yeah. That wasn't even a humble brag. But I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah.
In my life.
It's pretty cool, I think.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, it's another thing that we kind of take for granted, but it is really stunning up there. And like they've even
it's a UNESCO site.
Yeah, our National Trust.
Is it
we
National
call it.
Trust?
Yeah,
okay.
which is it's kind of our version of that, I think, as far as I know. But I wonder if it's UNESCO as well. But anyway, I'm not sure. But but it's really beautiful, and it was again a nice day for it. But you kind of see versions of that up and down that coastline as well, in interesting ways.
We drove through Bushmills.
Bushmills, yep.
The whiskey town, but it's like you could hold your breath and be through it.
Yes, you really could.
And it's one of the best, most famous Irish whiskeys.
Yes, probably in the world. Like I'd say, like that would be world famous. You know, even compared to the Causeway, honestly. And they're really fun tour actually, which we didn't have time for, unfortunately. So there's no way we were doing it because I was driving and I would have not been able to enjoy the delicious whiskey. So
pass for everyone.
Pass for everyone in that case.
I can't drink whiskey, so it's fine.
Yeah, really. So I've had to drink yours. So another reason why I couldn't have drunk.
Yeah.
So we then went to Port Rush.
Yeah.
The other thing I was going to say. Before we got to Port Rush, the thing I was going to say was. Because I said to Beth, "Will you see this?" And he was
like, "Look straight ahead,
yeah,
keep looking." Yeah. And then we come around this corner, and there's this enormous abandoned castle, but on the cliffside, it's not even. There's like the cliffside has fallen away. It's just kind of like on the perch of this piece of rock that's still holding on for I don't know how much longer for dear life. And then they've got like a little like you can kind of walk. They've got a visitor center, but it's stunning. It's stunning. I was freaking out about that.
I suppose we'll put up pictures for some of these things.
Yeah. I did
you already put up some on the Instagram and things like that. Yeah. Yep. And it's pretty incredible. It really, and it's another thing you absolutely take for granted. That's Dunluce Castle. That place is called.
Say it again.
Dunluce. How do you spell that? Do you think?
Dunloose.
It'll fall apart after that, yeah. Dunluce?
Dunluce.
I'm questioning myself.
It's okay. So, but next to the castle, there's a cliffside, and kind of everywhere you go, you're never alone because there are sheep or cows.
It's true.
So, I was joking that there was a cliffside, but it also had like a fence, and there were all these we call them Jersey cows. What do you call black and white cows?
Oh no,
it's fine, they're Jersey cows, but they're all like standing there munching on the grass, and literally it's like $1 billion view, and I was like, these cows are this $1 billion view, and they're just like
whatever
eating and shitting.
Yep loving life.
Next to this like beautiful drop dead
beautiful
view in a castle. And like, where else am I going to see that? Probably only here.
It's true. I mean, they've done such a better job of like giving you vantage points and stuff like that. And that walk now, we stopped at a few places that were absolutely beautiful. That I think are relatively new.
You could drop your cell phone and never get it back.
You really
it's
would
that.
Not.
It's like you don't want to look down.
No, you really don't. But it was beautiful.
The water is so clear.
It's true.
And I kept saying, like, next time I come, I'm going to bring my snorkel gear. Yep. And you were like, bring your thickest wetsuit.
It's always a good idea if you're diving in this country. So we made our way up to Portrush. We had we had a beer there. We then went to, we'll just touch on this quickly. We went, it was like, Beth, we've got to get some fish and chips. And we encountered a Northern Irish character, exactly what you would want from a Northern Irish character.
Yes. I understood 25% of what he was saying.
Can we say what one of those words was?
Cunt.
Yeah. So, like, honestly, like, it's so funny whenever you meet somebody in, like, a professional workplace. They're serving you food and they drop the C word. Minutes into that, but like we knew it was going to be a great story, and it was a story about him being in Cuba, potentially getting kidnapped and trafficked with his brother. It was wild.
I didn't pick that up.
Yeah.
That was his brother?
Yes, it was used with his
brother. And somehow he like lost his shoes, and they were trying to like get him to drink something, and he drank it, and then like they like shoved him in the back of like their car or something.
Yes, it was wide. I mean, like, and even me, because
and he was like, "They fucking cunts."
Yes, like, he was. It was wide. Like, and this is something I've said to Beth in terms of like accents. You go like maybe like 10-15 minutes away from where I live, possibly further.
I kind of didn't believe you.
Yeah, and you can come across an accent that even I would struggle to understand. And he, like, like Beth, you said you understood like 25%. I would say about 75% for me. Okay. Like, I understood most of it, but a big chunk of it I missed. But it was hilarious, and it was an incredible experience.
That was probably, like, one of my top favorite things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Plus, also seeing them, like, make fish and chips properly. Yeah. It's, like, this giant piece of fish. It's, like, he fresh actually fish. Was, like, battered it right there in front of you, put it in the fryer. Like, it fried for a lot longer than I thought it, like, getting the chips out, which are French fries. And like the red sauce, it was just watching the whole, like, in the States, like we hear about the fish and chips and how it's wrapped in paper and like, but it was like the full experience to the point where I got chips with curry and cheese.
Yes, you did.
And I was very excited. It was so good.
Chips with curry and cheese is such a Northern Irish.
And like would never think to eat that in the States, but I'm gonna go home and be like, we need to make curry sauce and like dip the fries in.
Give me the cheese grater.
Yes.
But yeah, so that was lovely. So it was a lovely day.
We're like, we keep talking about this guy, and like his nickname is Chippy Cunt.
Yeah, Chippy Cunt. Yeah, that's gonna be our next piece of merch.
Chippy Cunt. Yeah. Make him his own shirt for his store. He's pretty proud that we were there, and he was able to tell us a real zinger story.
Oh yeah, he was thrilled.
He was like holding court
because like we literally had just started off with, because he was working there by himself, and we were like, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear you're working by yourself," and us just like talking to him like that. He was just like launched into. It was great. It was so good.
Yeah.
So I think, so that was our Antrim Coast adventure, and I'm just going to talk a little bit generally about we're in Carrickfergus, what we've done here. So we've done dog walks. Locally, at least 3, possibly 4.
With your sister
too? Yeah, my sister, and also with Sasha. So we've probably 4 or 5 times. Maybe.
I've never been on a walk where I've been outnumbered by dogs before.
It's true.
It was the best.
It was the best.
And there's like, you guys can have your dogs off leash.
Yes.
So it's just like dogs running around the forest and just like running and sniffing, and it just like the happiest dogs.
Yeah.
In their natural, like, most happy state. It's
good.
It's pretty great.
And like, I mean, even that forest, and that's a big forest park with lots of tracks. There was we ran into maybe 5 people,
if that,
yeah. So absolutely nuts. So really beautiful, and I think locally, we did some really nice walks around here as well, like just forest walks and things like that. But yeah, it's been some nice. We've had some nice.
You walk a lot.
I do walk a lot.
You're also very busy.
That's true. I am very busy. Much to my chagrin.
I know.
So then I guess the only other things we're going to mention was, so we just today we went up to Knocker Monument. We talked about that at the top, didn't we, a little bit?
Yep, the view.
This is
but it's the Great War Monument.
Yes,
and then they also
rechristened? No, not rechristened.
Dedicated.
Rededicated, thank you.
Look at that. But hold that
good
up.
Work.
Right, thanks.
But like, it was like, it's for World War One and World War Two, and then it's like we've rededicated it to the soldiers from World War One and World War Two, and I'm like, hold on a minute, were these guys not? Is it already dedicated to those guys? Maybe they just need to really sink it in.
Or they needed a community event because someone was like running for political office.
That's more to the point. Almost certainly the case. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, I think we. I think that's a good summation of everything we talked about.
I think so. I'm just gonna look at my little.
Yeah, see if there's anything else. I mean, Beth went to one of my yoga classes this morning, which we want to talk about. It's interesting,
just walking around town and you run into people everywhere.
Yeah, that's true. I have a wee bit actually.
And just people light up when they see you, except for me.
Yeah, that's ugh, gross.
Andy again. Oh, he's still here. I'm staying in his house.
That's great.
But you're well known around here, and you've really, I will say, just to sum up, but you have really, really nice friends, and they really adore you.
Yes,
and that's just a testament to what a great person you are.
Thank
for
you.
the most part.
You know, everything in my body's trying to push.
I know, and that's why I'm I'm giving you a compliment, but then I'm not.
Yeah. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
No, but I do, and I think I've said this much before, and we had an episode on friendship, and I know how lucky I am. I've got so many wonderful people.
Well, and I'll be like, "Where'd you meet this person?" And you're like, "I've known them for 20 or 30 years," kind of thing.
Yeah, it's true.
And
and it's good, and it's good, and I mean, I know, very lucky, but I think, and like I said before, I do make an effort to maintain a lot of those friendships as well, you do. And I think it's important to me that I do, but I'm, very lucky nonetheless, I've got to say. But I think we're probably ready to move into our most dreaded section of the podcast. What's been bringing you joy this week? And it's because it's a tough one because we've talked about a lot of these things.
I know, already. I have not talked about this.
Okay.
It's kimchi and cheese toasties. Kimchi. So
I need to write this haiku.
Yeah. So Andy. Okay. So a kimchi cheese toastie. Mm-hmm. It's like a grilled cheese sandwich.
Yes.
But he grates the cheese, and then he's got homemade kimchi that he puts in the center, and then he makes it like a grilled cheese sandwich.
I put a wee bit more cheese on top.
So cheese, kimchi, cheese, grill.
Yep.
Or grill.
Grill or in a pan.
In a pan with butter, and then like a sandwich, and then you eat it. I've never had anything like it. I just made myself a bagel toastie, sort of. Yeah. And I was like, I'm leaving, so I need to put as much of Andy's kimchi on as I possibly can. And I'm like, I'm sitting here in my own garlic stench, feeling so good about it.
So happy.
So thank you for introducing me to this.
So welcome. It's so funny to me that you'll be going home and people are like, what's the nicest piece of food you had in Ireland? You'll be like, oh, cheese and kimchi. Is that an authentic Irish dish?
And French fries and curry.
Yeah, French fries. That is more authentically Irish, I must say.
I know.
That's a great one though. I love it. Yeah. So I love my cheese and kimchi toastie, as I have talked about already in the past. So, and I have been eating a lot of them while Beth's been here too. But the sad thing is now that we've eaten a lot of my kimchi, so I'm going to have to make some more soon.
You do. Sorry.
It's a nice problem to have, though, because I do like making it. It's a fun process.
Yeah. But I will say, my joy is also, I've been so, I've just been in the same routine.
Yeah.
I'm kind of, realizing I'm probably a little, agoraphobic, not wanting to leave the house. Yep. I hate going to the grocery store. And, watching you live your life where you're taking walks every day, you're getting outside every day, you're talking to people on the street. I need to I knew I needed this trip. I knew I needed some sort of fire put back in myself and back in my life, and I think this trip has totally done that.
No, good.
Not in any way because of you.
No, of course, thank you. I couldn't handle it otherwise. Yeah.
So it's been probably one of the best trips I've ever had.
Good. That's awesome. Yeah. I'm delighted to hear that, truly.
Yeah, and you put a lot of effort into curating my experience.
Yes,
and it's
important to me to do that.
He's a good tour guide.
Yeah, thank you. I know. So, yeah, I mean, the only thing to talk about this week is you being here. Do you really? Do you know what I mean? Because it has meant so much to me, you being here. And it's what I needed too, because certainly, and we talked about it a little bit in the pod. This past year, I have been up and down like a yo-yo, but I can't. I'm not sad with Beth here, so it's been really lovely. So yeah, I know.
That was an actual high five.
Everybody. And Beth, that was everything you wanted me to read.
Right?
No, there's I missed a bit. Okay, sorry. No, but I mean, genuinely, truly, it has been absolutely lovely. So, it is truly one of my life's pleasures being able to like host somebody. Do you know what I mean? And like give them a good time. That really means a lot to me. Mm-hmm. And so yeah, I'm very happy to be able to have done that for you as well.
Thank you. So everyone hit up Andy.
Yeah, if you're, I mean, like, you can all come. I mean, I know most of you, but come on over, give me a shout. I'll happily host you.
We'll take you to Victor's Way.
Yeah, we'll take you to Victor's Way. You'll maybe thank me about that. Yeah. That'll be a mixed experience.
Walk through a giant vagina with teeth.
Yeah.
With elephants on it.
Who hasn't wanted that experience?
Really, right. There are metaphors there that we don't want to go.
Oh, no. There are layers, many layers to Victor's Way that you can only discover if you go there yourself.
Yes.
But yeah, so I think we are reaching the end of our show this week. This is going to be an interesting one because we're going to be doing it live.
I know.
So we'll have to see how that goes. Okay.
Yeah.
So, as always, we would like to remind you to... Oh, no, wait a minute. Should we do the plugs and stuff?
Oh, right. We have a website.
Yeah.
And you can find us on all the channels.
YouTube, Spotify,
and you can actually watch us on this episode breathing the same air at the same time.
Somebody may have forgot to record the first 10 minutes, but we have most of it.
It doesn't fucking matter.
All the good stuff's recorded, so don't worry.
Did we forget to record?
Somebody did.
It was Doug.
I'm not gonna. It was Doug.
Fucking Doug.
Doug.
God.
So
Okay.
we're gonna kick his ass up down the street right now. But after we've done that, we would like to remind you to.
Wait.
What?
The website is. The website's bendypodcast.com.
Yeah. Thank you.
Find us.
Yeah.
Like us, love us, comment.
Yeah.
And if anybody has, I think like people were asking us, they're like, do you ever ask people for topic ideas?
We have, I think.
I think in the beginning.
Yeah.
So this is our 33rd episode. Yeah. But if anybody has anything that they want to hear our thoughts on, because we have thoughts on all things, that's why we do this every week.
Yeah.
And they were also asking if we thought about interviewing other people. And I was like, oh, I don't really want to talk to anybody else.
Yeah. And I mean, like, we probably will eventually, and there's a few people we've thought about, so maybe eventually we will. I mean, there's a topic that I think we both like to talk about that I might be able to get somebody who knows about that. But anyway, that's enough of that. We can we'll get there and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
So I think we're at the end now. Finally, after many false endings there. So we would like to remind you.
Just kidding.
No. There's building up steam there. So we'd like to remind you, as always, to stay Bendy. It's got to be one of the best ones ever because we actually did do it in the same room.
I know.
Nice. All right. Okay. Bye.
We love you. Bye. Bye.